Hi, this is IK. Welcome to Compiling for the React Beginner's Book. To understand some technology, some software, we must begin from product of that software. What that tools, what that library, concretely here React, JavaScript library, what we produce by that tools. And we produce this, what you now see. What is it? It is web page. It is web page, same as that page 30 years ago. At first, it was only text, but soon after beginning, there is an image also, that web page. This web page, what we look at now, there is HTML and CSS, same as that first years of web pages. What problem resolve web pages? In that time, in the 90s, people have big problems with reading text. There is a lot of word processors and a lot of version of that word processors. And when you receive some text, you must, for reading the text, you must have same word processor and same version. It will be very, very difficult for science networks, and in Geneva, chief of some department said young scientist, Tim Lee-Berners, do something for solve this problem with word processing and text. And he create a web. And when asked him what is web, he said web is software. And that software was HTML, was at first software client, we call that browser today, and software server. We call that a web client and web server. It is web is world wide web, short web. All people who have a browser on his computer and have access to internet, have access to server, can read that document on the server. There is no problem solved. There is no more problems with the text processor and version. HTML is hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language. People talk about does it HTML program? Hypertext markup language. Does it programming language? But we call him hypertext markup language. Okay, it is language, markup language. And that HTML and after that CSS for formatting, HTML for structure, for formatting, it is beginning of a web, but it is first principles for what people create web, for what people need a web, what problems solve a web. And it is like then, it is same today. Same problem. We have server and we have client, and we read documents, contents from that server. We have all same program, client program. We call that browser. Web pages was boring because after text, people incorporate images, video, CSS for formatting, and JavaScript, client programming language. JavaScript, in the beginning, JavaScript have access to document object model. It is structure of web page in memory. This we see on display presentation of web pages, but behind that in memory is document object model and element, HTML element we call node. JavaScript work on the client and have access to document object model and can animate that node, that HTML element. It was first function, but very soon coming Ajax, it is access to data separate of web pages, but there is no we don't need refresh complete page for new data. We can access by Ajax, we can access data by Ajax access. We can change only part of the web page, and it was very attractive for users. It was very big influence to user experience, because refreshing pages was very boring, and was a big factor in usefulness of web pages, because people don't waiting that web pages, that loading of that pages, and that role of JavaScript, role in Ajax, continue to jQuery, and in last version of JavaScript, it is JavaScript version 6 from 2015 years. We have after that explosion of library and framework based on grounded on JavaScript. React is library, JavaScript library, because React, for example, there need import and must import router, must import Redux, all that. Angular, there is own routers, own something like Redux can have Redux, but there is own in build, and Angular there is all function what we need, all features for produce a web page, for produce final product is a web page, but all them produce component, and build from that component build web pages. And React, there is a three principal team, separate version. React React router and Redux. Redux, it is 3 teams, Facebook teams, but they work separate open software. All 3 software is open software, and we must import router, import Redux to build complete web page and data flow by React. It is not only version JavaScript 6, but also we have a Node.js. It is JavaScript server, and thanks to that server we have an explosion of frameworks and the library like Angular and React, etc. And Node.js is a JavaScript server. In that server lay host our React application. React application host on the Node.js server or Amazon platform or Azure, Microsoft platform, they lay. When we call that address, when we call in our browser React, all application of React with all what need for running on the client go to our browser and running in the browser and respond to our clicks, to our to event, respond, running, respond, and there is a 3 document object. First web pages was 1 document object, and everyone when must be refresh complete page and must be from web server coming new document object model, and we see new web pages. We must waiting for that. It is time-consuming loading web page. But now, to our browser come in complete JavaScript application, and first coming index.html from public folder. Index, let's go there. Here it is. Here is in public we have index.html. This index.html there is only in body there is only div HTML ID equal root, and that element, that node in document object model use JavaScript to display actually document object model. But all time JavaScript produce virtual document object model. We don't see virtual document object, but only see that virtual document object when he became actual document object. Document object model actual. Okay, let's go. First document object model is this page, index.html. This page would have only this element in body. That document object model we can see in page source. Let's go to see. view page source. Here it is. It is a document object model of index.html. And always look at this HTML div ID root is only visible in body, and only visible element in body, and all time when we use React application, all the time, and we have and the changes display content of the web page like this. It is all a post. Now this is only one post, but page view page source is equal, 100% equal. Nothing happened in here. All time we look at, we have page view source is index.html. It is here, index.html. Here it is from public folder. We can see actually document object model. Actually document object model is document object model what we see on the screen. It is not always index.html. It is never index.html. It is actually, and here it is, F12. Here it is, elements, and look at in div id equal root. Here inside of that we will see here in elements, after clicking on elements in F12, we look at inside of div root, div class container, all that, what is web. Here is for posts, and here is what is web. It is now is only what is web. Here is 3 paragraph of that, and it is one post. Look at what is web. It is a web page. Because of that I said that React produce web page, but produce that by component. It is a story what waiting for us. Now we see page, and we see document object model actual web pages. That actual document object model is a separate part in the memory of our browser, and in same time index.html view page source is always the same. Is always the same. Is always the same. Here it is, and here is actually document object model. Document object model is HTML and CSS, what we see here, element, HTML elements, structure of web pages, and it is that HTML element we call a node also, and it is lay in memory. Near that in memory, somewhere in memory lay actually also. It means that in every moment React have three document object model. We see two. We see index.html. We see it is a single page application. Because of that, what we always in page source always see one page, single page, index.html. And because of that, application, React application, we call a single web application. Single web application. It is a single web application. There is three web. First is index.html, single, what named this application, but we have an actual web application, and that actual web application is web application what produce React application. How? React application have a virtual document object model, and that virtual object model, document object model, always running, and when something change, he produce a new version of virtual document object after changes, and compare that virtual document object model with actual document object model. If there is a difference between them, change actual with virtual. Change actual document object model with virtual. And virtual always beginning by virtual document object model, and virtual document object exists in memory, changes first and compare virtual document object with the actual document object. And if there is a difference between them, going to be changed. Actual document object model will be changed by virtual document object model. But single page application, but index.html stay like that all time. All until now, what I said, it is important for understanding last thing here when we spoke about document object model. It is a component. React produce component, and React never refresh all web pages, but refresh, we call that render only component what have changes. And it is useful that every component would be only one features, not more features, because if we change it something, that one event happen, and we have changes data in that component, only that component would be rendered again. All other components stay like that, and that changes in one component would be rendered, and we will see that component. And thanks for that component building, we have a single page application. We have React application almost as desktop application. It is very fast, very flow, very fast transition from one pages to other pages, because there is rendering only one component in one time. All others stay on the screen. In this application, home page there is a left side, menu left. I call menu that. It is only heading of post and links to concretely post, directly web post, how to build what. But that left side menu always state, there is no changes, always stay on the screen, and I create one component for that. One component for that, separate component for that. Right side here changes all post, single post, all post now, all post, single post, single post, single post, all post, single post. Because of that I have a component single post. I call that menu, because menu and blog post, it is menu because it is also menu. There is link in heading is link, image, and here is a short description, only 115 character places. But here is only title. It is menu, but it menu left, but it is home. When we have home, it is menu, the right side. And we have, now we look at the three components. Menu left, here it is menu left, and menu right, and single post. Single post, here it is, single post. Single post must have in web address, must have parameter. Parameter, it is ID of post. We get in parameter, and by that parameter we know, software know which post to open. Again, we have visible now one component menu left, one component menu right, and single component. We have that three components. For React application, create trees of components, and there is a topic component. It is app.js component, and all other component is directly on topic, on app component, or indirectly. They can be child of app, but that child of app can have a own child, and like that ahead can be. But all trees happen on the topic component, app component. It means now in every moment that we have a app component, and have that left, always have a left, and right component would be what we click, home or single post. It is up, left, right, and single. We talk about four components. Here it is. I call components blog post. It is a single post. Blog post. Blog post must take care about parameters. And here is use params. Use params is hook, and declaration of object params. And here that object params have a properties ID, and it is parameter from web address. And now blog post would be find by method find, and blog post array is array. Every array there is a method find, and the method find result of method find is object, not array, but object who satisfy this condition. Who satisfy this condition. It is a post, one post, singular post, which satisfy that post ID equal ID parameter. And it is important for this component. Blog post menu. Blog post menu is right menu. Blog post menu don't need parameters in address, but only need address, web address, and it is domain address. And he, by method map on also array blog post, it is array of all posts. With method map produce again array. Produce array, and that is all post. Method map is like a loop in, for example, in PHP, while loop. Go through every post in every member of the array and create what we write in the body of arrow function with that element of the post. Post ID is key here, and every post go in one div, and there is a link. It is title, heading is link, there is image, and there is content of post 150 character places. Here we see two methods of array blog posts. And the third blog post menu left, there is like blog post menu, but only there is only heading. There is a map and there is only heading. Blog post menu, there is a map on all these elements, heading, image, blog post. And this one there is only link of post heading. It is blog post menu left. And in the end, we must say about blog post data. It is a JSON format of posts. JSON format of it is array of object. Array of concretely here is 4 members. That array there is 4 members, and this square bracket means array, but inside that array, delimited by comma, is object. Object here, every object there is 4 properties. 4 properties: ID, heading, image, and blog post. Every properties there is a value. Value on the right side, value, and blog post there is an array. Why? Because every paragraph, because this backslash, every paragraph is one member of array, and there is 3 paragraph, three members of array. It is blog post is equal array, and we have 4 posts. It is blog post data. It is a JavaScript format here. and I don't like all fail data. Or it is concretely data can be if you have only one product, only one article, or 2, 4, 10 article, and long time we have only same number of article. It can be data articles can be in this file. You don't need a database for that, or you don't need a JSON format file on the server. It can be that limited number of articles for your catalog can be here inside of a React application, not remote, and you don't need API and asynchron access to that JSON, and you have a faster rendering when you have that file here. And for beginning, I take that some JSON format for here is for post, but can be for articles also. Here is a link for image. It is blog post, so yes, data.js, okay? And app.js here, app.js, there is a home, link to home, only that one link. And there is a blog post menu left. Why? Because stay always stay on app. We always see that on the screen, and I make position of that here. And here in outlet, with that configuration of divs, it will be left side, grid 2, and here outlet would be right side, grid 4. And that is outlet. Outlet is a React element what coming with router 6 version, and in that outlet will be displayed changeable component. Menu, blog post menu, or blog post or blog post. Go in that outlet. Depend what we click. If we click home, it go home. It go this blog post menu in that outlet, and we see that on the right side. When we click on single post, blog post go in the right in outlet. But where we decided what will be see when first open. Here it is. This is first open. When we first open application, we have this, where we decided what to see on our, call that home page, home page. Where we decided that here. We have entry component of our React application. It is index.js. Index.js. I must say that index.html go first when we call React application, when start go to our browser. First go index.html. It is like in every HTML, like always in protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. Hypertext transfer protocol. He understands only HTML. Because of that, go index.html. Always. From first day of JavaScript. And we need first loading and create a document object model of file of HTML extension, index.html. And when created document object model on the memory of browser, that moment get up, start JavaScript. Always like that, because JavaScript have access to document object model and must wait until complete document object model would be installed, would be loaded. And same now, you see that JavaScript use div HTML div ID root. And all what we see in actually document object model, here it is, all what we see in actually document object model is inside div ID equal root. Div, all is here inside of div ID root. We don't see that in page source because there is no changes in document object model after he finished. But JavaScript use actual document object model which lay on the memory in separate part of memory and have programmable in background. We can see that here under elements we can see that it is inside div ID root. Okay, let's go here. It is index.js and before in first version, when we look at index.html, here would be script calling index. Now we don't see calling here index.js because we don't need see it here. It would be called in background. After index.html create a document object model, after that he call index.js because index.html is HTML page and it go by hypertext transfer protocol, and after that go loading index.js. It is JS format, it is JavaScript. Index.js after router 6, with the router 6, have all router, and of course we have method render, and you see create root, React document object model, React DOM object. There is a method create root, and here is a document get element by ID. Document is object of the document object model is document, and in that document object model get it is method get element by ID, and look at get root and activate root, that root, we declare that object root, And that root, there is a method render. Because of that, we spoke about rendering, and not loading, and loading. But it is, we can say that it is the same thing. But here is rendering. Rendering, it is like image rendering, and we use rendering because we have rendering. Here, root object, there is a method render, and render all that. In rendering all that, what it means? It is React element browser router, all inside that browser router, all inside that element are routers. Here is a routers. Inside there is a routers. Inside the routers we have a single root, and it is a router 6 version. And here is a root app, element app. It is path. Root, there is properties. Path, it is address. It is home page. Element, it is React element. React element app. Coding like this we call element, React element. But coding like look at in app.js, it is component. It is component. It is function. App component is function, and that function component, when we write it in like this, it is element. Why? Because HTML is write like this. Difference is only capital letters. Name begins with capital letters here. In HTML begin with small case. And this is element. HTML element. This is React element. And it is self-closed React element. And because of that, here is element. Before, in version 5, it was component. Now it is element. And path in HTML, it is a root, a React element. But it is, of course, also component. And React element, React C as object. Because of that, we said that this is properties of object. And short, we call that props. Properties, every object can have properties. Same with React object, root. Properties path is web address. And the element who click web address like this would be open up. But look at now, it is a call for app, for it is a call when index.js opened. Here he opened this address, always this beginner home page address, call this like that. And when that home page is called, it's here. It is called, and we see home page. Here it is root index calling, index. Okay, properties. There is an element. This root, there is a properties index, and that index property, there is an element. There is an element properties, and that element properties blog post menu, and that open right in outlet, open in app app outlet, up, open in app outlet. Here it is, outlet. Here would be open. Back to index. But data, blog post menu, it is calling function blog post menu, it is calling component blog post menu, it is calling element blog post menu, object blog post menu, it is calling, and that go in outlet, but must have data. Data is heading of post, image of post, etc. Image, heading, image, and blog post, and also ID. And this is calling for data. This is loading data in that blog post menu component. Here is properties. We short call that post. Properties, post. Props, properties. And that blog post properties equal, in curly brackets, is JavaScript. What is a JavaScript? It called in curly brackets because we have a JavaScript XML, JSX. JSX language have a HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. JavaScript coming inside curly brackets. Blog post is properties of this. It is not in curly brackets, but blog post is, it is concretely, what is it? It is this. We import blog post data, blog posts import, and it is like we writing that here, directly or import, it is the same. And that blog posts object we have in app.js. And that blog posts, look at here, it is a blog posts plural. Blog posts plural. Here is a declaration of object blog posts. That object blog posts, there is a equal array. And here, after import, blog post from components blog post data, yeah, I must get here and look it down. Look at export default blog post. It is a modular system. This is component is a module. Every component is one module, and one module is for import export. Every module there is a button export default, and if there is more object on the website, we can have more export, but only one default. And export default means that this module, concretely this module is object blog post with posts inside, can be imported where we need that. Imported in component. And component is self-satisfied. And it is very simple debug and test, etc. Modular system. Import export. Every module there is export default down on the button, and there exists import if we need that module. And go back to JS. Here that export. Here we have import. And when we have some import, it is like we write directly on that app component. Here is app component, And all this component, what we have here, it is concretely blog post menu here. It will be show like home page, right side of the home page. And when we click on when in web address after slash we have a number, it is connected because there is no self, there is no self closed. No, it is open, and that root is this root path up, and that means that all inside happen on up, and that ID go to that path slash number. We have that. When we click, here is a number after slash, and we close that root, close here, and we have on the app in index blog post and the properties blog post equal in curly brackets, it is JavaScript data, JavaScript, it is JavaScript in curly bracket, concretely existing blog post on the app object, and blog post menu take it all complete. Blog post menu take that blog post, and when you look at here the blog post menu here, we have not here import of blog post, but we have here blog posts. It is post what coming like properties from app, from parents. Let's get back in. App is parent because it's here and is here inside. All inside a child, and it is child component of app component. App component is parent component, and data flow can go only from parent to child, only down and never up. From parent, and here it is from parent blog post properties of this component. There is a properties blog post equal concretely curly brackets blog post. When it is in curly brackets, it is this blog post, and that component here from parents have data, receive the data blog post, and inside component, that component process that data. Blog post menu process that data. How? By blog post is array. Every array there is a method map. Process it like this. Blog post array dot map. It is a method map. In parameter of method map is arrow function. Arrow function parameter post. You look at it, is not curly brackets, it is post, can be x, y, what we want. It is in parameter, and in body, after that we have a body. In body of arrow function we have what must be doing with every post, with every properties of post. What must be doing with the post ID, what must be doing with post ID, what must be doing post heading, what must be, okay, this is key in div because every post go in div and we have list of div and inside the div all that, etc. And a map produce new array, and that new array go in outlet, and we see that it is interesting. Map is in the background of map is a loop, but we don't use a loop, and we call a loop, we call imperative programming, but now in JavaScript 6 version, they incorporate one layer most. That compiler there is one layer more job, and that one layer up it is declarative programming, and that declarative programming is coming like higher language than imperative programming, and it is something what people who learn, for example, PHP complete is imperative programming, and now when we're coming in JavaScript is complete declarative programming, and in the beginning, for me, it was the same like a while loop in PHP, but not after some other example. Here we have a function like parameter of method map. Function, arrow function. The arrow function can be parameter, and that functional programming it is a step up imperative, and that functional programming is declarative programming. About that I will talk in the future, and I talked yesterday in last in video before this one. Okay. Declarative is less coding, and declarative programming is better than imperative for developer, but result is the same. Declarative and imperative is the same. Result is same. What will result? Result will be list of post. Here it is. List of post. Home. Here it is. List of post. And every post there is a heading, image, and 150 character places. A list of post. For this video, I think it is enough. If you know somebody that need video like this, say them about that, talk on your network, on social network, and subscribe, like if you want, and engage. One word for all that is engage. Your engagement means growing community around this video and other video, and growing community. Only growing community is growing learning for every of us in that community. Thank you for watching this video.